In today's video, we're going to be looking at all the different planters available, looking at their good points and their bad points to help you decide which is the best value planter for your farming needs. The main difference between the planters and the seeders is the type of crops that they can plant. So things like your cotton, your soybeans, your sorghum, and your corn, etc., are going to require a planter because of the way that they are put into the ground. This different type of planting means that you're going to need a different type of machine. Starting off, we've got the Mzuri, which is a fairly new piece of equipment to the farm. Starting at £133,000, the Pro-Til 40 Xact is a fairly impressive piece of kit. It will take seed and fertilizer, only requires 200 horsepower, holds an impressive 5,912 litres, weighs in at 6.9 kilos and has a 4 metre working width with a working speed of 15 kilometers per hour. Overall, it's a very pretty impressive piece of kit. However, it is a very high barrier to entry at that £133,000. Next up, we have the Amazon Pre-Seer 4500-2C Super. At quite a bit less, at £49,500. It has a 4.5 metre working width, 1,580 litres of capacity, does seed and fertiliser, only requires 150 horsepower, and runs at 16 kilometers per hour. Overall, this is a much better deal than the Mzuri because it is over half the price less. Next up, we have the Kuhn Maxima 3-Til L, which unfortunately is actually bugged on the game and will not allow you to put the fertilizer in it. I've tried literally everything. It will, however, take 150 horses to run it, only holds 595 litres, weighs in at 3.2 tons, has a working width of 6 meters and has a working speed of 10 kilometers per hour. With it being bugged, as well as it just being simply worse than the Amazon, I really can't recommend this at all. Next up, we have the HORSCH Maestro 9.75 RX, and as always with the HORSCH, it's a little bit different to most other pieces of equipment. It does require 170 horses, it has 630 litres of capacity, weighs in at 2.4 tons and has a working width of 6.7 meters with a working speed of 15 kilometers per hour. It states that it only holds seed, but you can add a fertilizer distribution unit on it for an extra cost, meaning that if you get a front tank and fill that with solid fertilizer, you can use the two in conjunction. At £65,000, however, it is pretty hefty on the price. Next in line, we have the GRIMME Matrix 1800 for £81,000. This piece of machinery is only good for canola and sugar beet and does require 170 horses, only holds 180 litres, weighs in at 2.8 tons with a rather impressive working width of 8.1 meters. The working speed is quite a bit lower than most of the other pieces of equipment on this list at only 12 kilometers per hour. That is a lot of money for not a lot of use when every other planter on this list can plant more than simply 2 crops. Next up, we've got the Kvernland OPTIMA RS at £89,500. This requires 180 horses, has a rather impressive capacity at 2,660 litres, weighing in at 3.1 tons and a working width of 9 meters. It's got a really impressive working speed of 18 kilometers per hour, takes both seed and fertilizer, and also has the added advantage of also planting canola as well as all of the other standard crops. The other thing that I really like about this piece of machine is the way it works. When you're driving around, you hitch it at the end of the machine and then you decouple, couple up at the center of the machine, unfold, and then use. It means that because it's directly attached to the tractor, you actually get a little bit more movement out of it, and it's very easy to maneuver around the fields. Next up, we've got the HORSCH Maestro 24.50 SV, coming in at rather hefty £208,000. It requires a whopping 350 horsepower, carries 9,000 litres of seed and fertiliser, weighing in at 13.8 tons, and has an impressive work width of 12 meters. It is a little slower at 12 kilometers per hour. Overall, this piece of machinery is great for bigger fields, but it's not really worth that hefty price tag. Finally, we have the KINZIE 4905 Blue Drive, which is a returning favourite from 22. You do not unfortunately get the smaller brother of the KINZIE, but still, at £249,500, it is a hefty piece of kit. This thing requires 350 horses, just like the HORSCH, carries a rather impressive 7,068 litres, weighing in at 14.5 tonnes, and has a mammoth working width of 18.2 meters and a really impressive 18 kilometers per hour top speed. What is really interesting about this is that it uses liquid fertilizer and not solid fertilizer like every other piece of equipment on the farm. It's a really nice piece of kit for the bigger fields. However, I feel that the best planter for your farm is going to be the Kvernland. The Optima RS is just the best of all worlds. It has the added advantage of being able to plant canola, which is a very high value crop. It is easy to maneuver on the farm, is no mess, no fuss, no nonsense, easy to maneuver, easy to transport, holds a really impressive amount and doesn't require that much horsepower to run. Also, at £89,500, it's really fairly priced as well. If you're looking for a planter, this really is the one you should be going for because it just makes the most sense. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope to see you again in the next. Don't forget to subscribe. Ciao, ciao.